Driving can be exciting and sort of enjoyable, but it can also be stressful, especially for those new to the game. In this video, we'll go through the most common and dangerous mistakes a driver can go through, especially a new driver. But before rolling in, I'd really appreciate if you subscribe to the channel, as it'll motivate me to keep pushing new content. Thanks, guys. So without further ado, let's start. Close following. An important way to avoid an accident is to maintain a respectable distance between cars, and the reason behind that is actually pretty simple, as your car will take an average of 3 seconds till your brakes stop it completely, or at least lower the speed to a certain level. And since the average cars need about 243 feet gap between each other on the road, the rule of thumb in this case is to leave the length of a car between one vehicle and another. When it comes to a full stop, just imagine in your mind that there's an invisible car in front of you all the time, and it'll be more than enough to keep you safe. And if that is not possible, for example in the bumper-to-bumper traffic, which is very common in some cities, then make sure you accelerate and give as much distance as possible. Toxic confidence. When a new driver is studying for his driving test, traffic rules come first. But unfortunately, after riding for a while, it's easy to let some minor technicalities slip out of your mind. Things like how to change lanes safely, good signage, and proper compliance. These are concepts that even the most experienced drivers can sometimes let go of, due to some overconfidence, of course, as when a new driver is getting used to driving more every day, he starts to letting go of the basic road rules slowly, as if it was just for beginners, which is totally incorrect. Lack of car maintenance. Regardless of a driver's experience, car maintenance is always an ongoing issue. However, as a new driver, it is sometimes harder to remember. A car is an investment, so what is put in will eventually come out. Without proper and regular care, that car that once represented independence and freedom can become a dead weight, leaving you chained to car shop visits and unwieldy large mechanic bills. Most of the needed maintenance is very simple and does not take much time. So keep your maintenance schedule on point, guys. Too many in the car. According to a study that took place in late 2001, showed that the more people in the car, the greater the risk of a fatal accident. It may sound unrelated, but it appears that there's something about piling up people that makes the driver more distracted and more likely to drive aggressively. Perhaps it's the feeling of a mini party in the backseat that puts the driver in a more reckless mood. But, as a rule of thumb, you should never take more passengers than the number of available seat belts in your car. If the car seats 5 people, there's no reason why 7 people should try to get in. There is a limit to carpooling. Taking unnecessary risks. This isn't about the occasional distractions. Risky behavior is intentional and includes speeding for yellow lights, ignoring stop signs and zebra crossings, and not mentioning changing lanes without a reason and without checking blind spots. The road is not the place to be impulsive or spontaneous. Any risk taken is a risk that affects others down the road. It's not just one person out there. Taking risks is a decision of conscience, so be careful when the time comes. Not buckling up seatbelts. Sometimes it eludes the mind. Fortunately, most cars today have reminders in the form of annoyingly persistent warning lights and sounds that don't let anyone escape by not locking their belts in place. It really is the best feature out there, even if some people may say otherwise. A seatbelt may sound restrictive, I know, guys, but at the end of the day, it's one of the few things that separate between the driver and his certain death. So even if it's just a ride around the corner, it's always important to strap in. Do it every time you get in the car, and soon you won't even have to think about it. Being distracted. In today's technology-driven world, it's easier than ever to get distracted while driving. Of all the mistakes a new driver, or even an experienced driver, can make, this is probably the most common one. Whether you're texting, answering an important call, or can't resist the urge to scroll through a social media site, distracted driving can, and will, have disastrous consequences. Beyond technology, anything can be a distraction, like eating food or putting on makeup in the rearview mirror. Do everyone a favor. When you're behind the wheel, you just drive. Never try to multitask. Speeding. Ever had a close accident call? It's a normal part of driving, but when a driver is speeding, it goes from a rare occurrence to a normal scare. A new driver's license, a nice car, everyone would want to run the engine and experience that intoxicating feeling of independence. However, there is nothing good about having an accident, and speeding greatly increases the chance of that happening. It is still possible to enjoy that sweet freedom of driving without exceeding the speed limit. The temptation can be strong, but try to resist. The need for speed can become a serious need for medical attention. Driving tired. This one is for the full-time workers, the straight-A college student, and the kids putting themselves through college. Everyone gets tired, but there is a degree of fatigue that can make driving extremely dangerous. Sleep deprivation is no joke. It is a serious hazard that has resulted in an estimated 1,500 deaths each year. If it's late, it might be best to get some rest. Stopping at the side of the road is no shame. It'll literally save your life. Panicking. Driving can be scary, especially if driving is new to you, and one thing that cannot always be explained is other drivers on the road. The last thing to do when they find themselves in an awkward situation is panic. Anxiety and panic slow down reaction time and critical thinking, and a driver will inevitably make impulsive decisions that are likely to make the situation worse. What can be done? It's normal to be a little anxious, but if there's a tendency to panic, it might be worth doing more practice before hitting the highway. So yeah, that was all for this video, guys. Share your thoughts with us down in the comments. Cheers.